For many years, I have listened to people talk about their plans to return to their villages and kindred after years of toiling in big cities and foreign countries. I also have given a lot of thought as to where I would like to live out the rest of my life as I age, but nothing is set in stone yet. Visiting our hometown with my dad as a young adult, one of the spectacular sights that makes the long trip worth it, aside from the nostalgia of seeing the River Niger once again, is the various mansions cropping up in areas that were once used for farming. I used to walk down the dirt path with my older cousins and sometimes my old schoolmates, making our way to the river that is part of the rich history of my people. The River Niger is said to have been of great help and support to my people when they were in desperate conditions. I always look forward to such stories and never give up an opportunity to see the great river. Walking along those paths and seeing these new buildings which looked nothing like what we had back in the day made me wonder more about what the future had in stock. But in the time being, these developments were signs of hope to the younger generation who had not yet made it out to the big cities. However, it also made the older generation who never made it out feel small and unsuccessful. During our visits in those days, my dad usually took us around the village to visit relatives, some of whom were visitors like ourselves, and others who had lived most of their lives within. The conversations were mostly centered on who was building which mansion, when they were due for retirement, and how they planned to live out the rest of their lives in these houses they had spent a fortune on. One question that has always played around in my head was how would they survive when they finally moved back home? While touring the village, we would visit people who had lived and worked in big cities. Some had lived most of their lives abroad, but seeing them after they had retired back home, they looked like a shadow of their former selves. Some had fallen ill, with few giving in to the ailment so quickly that many believed someone must have had a hand in their misfortune. For generations, we've been taught about building careers, making money, and owning properties, which are good but not without challenges. However, the topic of retirement is something that is yet to be spoken from the rooftops. I remember back in the late 90s and early 2000s, some group of people were going from church to church, encouraging members to start daily, weekly, or monthly contributions towards their retirement. These include the small traders whose goods sold on tables were barely enough to feed their households, not to talk of saving towards retirement. Some of these people did their best to contribute as much as possible, in hopes of building their savings, which should serve as annuity when they retire. But after a few months of collecting, this group of people disappears with people's hard-earned money, and the hope of having something for the later years also disappears as quickly as it had been presented. That was before the Nigerian Pension Commission (PENCOM) became active, which so far has presented its challenges since commencement. My dad was one of those who had lost money to these pension scammers, and I've always seen how unsettled he was about the future. With the rise in insecurity, the impact of inflation, and the doubting future Nigerians face, planning for retirement in Nigeria continues to look like a face-off with the impossible. I think this fear has contributed greatly to how quickly a lot of the elderly have succumbed to illnesses after they retired. Driving through these communities, you see the young and old doing their best to survive each day, without a clear understanding of what it means to plan for the days ahead. Most are living based on the knowledge that has been passed from one generation to another, failing to see how the changes happening around the world are impacting the quiet life they've always known. Many in the big cities and foreign lands are planning to retire back home, hoping to enjoy the serenity that these lands offer. But the truth is, things are changing. The home we left behind is not going to be the same when we come back. The people we left behind are also in search of greener pastures and may not be there when we return. Families are going to continue selling their lands, and these landscapes will continue to change over time. As the new generation grows to take over the hustling and bustling of these villages, gradually developing into cities, people from other regions will discover these upcoming cities, and many will move to pitch their tent here, bringing others with them. We can hold on to an idea all we want, but we cannot stop the change that occurs over time. We must start looking into practical ways to thrive in our later years. When our youthfulness is becoming a tale and all we have left is the lessons from our life experiences. No matter where we go, our hearts will always long for that one place it's known as home. But seeing the recent developments in the country, the less value placed on lives and the lawlessness we live through each day, what's the benefit of retiring back home when there is no sense of certainty? Thanks for watching. If you would like to support my channel, I have a link in the description you can click to buy me a cup of coffee or more if you prefer. Till I see you at the next one, stay safe, stay blessed. Much love from me. Bye.